Good evening and welcome to only my second review of the year, and we're what, the 11th of January? 12th maybe? Seems like January is running away with me, and not only that, this cinema closes in 16 days, so I need to make the most of it. But today's visit was absolutely worth it. I've just been to see A Real Pain and I am so glad I came to see this film. I'm so glad this film exists. I am having one of those moments where, like, naff as it sounds, films like A Real Pain make me grateful for cinema. And I know how cringy that sounds, but I don't care. Because cinema is everything from your biggest blockbusters to your smallest art house films via foreign language films and important stories and throwaway stories and everything else. And I absolutely love this film. I have seen the two leads doing a lot of press. I've been watching interviews with them and stuff like that. So I was like genuinely psyched going into this today, which is perhaps a weird way to approach a film like this. In itself, it's not an exciting film, but it's important and beautiful and special. And like I say, I'm really, really glad I got to see it today. So if you are wondering what A Real Pain is about, then allow me to tell you a little bit about it. A Real Pain is the story of two cousins who were born 3 weeks apart. They are David, played by Jesse Eisenberg, and Benji, played by Kieran Culkin. It's worth mentioning at this point that the film is also written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg. It's only his second ever film as a director, and it makes me very excited for what he will do in years to come, because this film is pretty perfect as far as I'm concerned. So David and Benji's grandmother, Grandma Dory, has recently passed away, and in her will she left money for the boys, for these cousins, to travel to Poland and see where she came from. Grandma Dory was a survivor of a concentration camp. She was a Polish Jew, and she made it to the States, and Benji and David's fathers were her sons. And the two men could not be more different. David is wound quite tightly. He's quite put together, I guess you could say. He's got a successful job. He's got a wife and a child and a nice little house in New York, or is it a house? Yeah, I guess it is a house. Whereas Benji is clearly a bit of a loose cannon. He's quite directionless. And a lot of the humour of the film, although it's not an out-and-out comedy, but a lot of the humour of the film comes from the differences between these two men. What makes it work so well, and what I loved about it and what made it so beautiful, was just how incredible the two men are written, and that's down to Jesse Eisenberg, and then how incredibly they are played, and that is down to Jesse Eisenberg and Kieran Culkin. Now, the story goes, and what they've been saying in all the press they've been doing, Jesse Eisenberg claims he was not familiar with Kieran Culkin's work. Now, I find this quite baffling, because although it has a small ensemble cast, the two men are on a tour of Poland with a small group, so there are other characters in it. It is essentially like a two-hander. And if you're going to play opposite somebody in the way that David and Benji are in pretty much every scene together, you would think that you would go for somebody whose work you were familiar with. But the story goes that they had literally met twice in passing, and when casting this film, Jesse Eisenberg decided that the only man who could play Benji was Kieran Culkin. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. He's saying it in interviews, so it must be true. However, there is no person on earth better suited to play Benji than Kieran Culkin. He's already won the Golden Globe. I feel like I don't know who the Oscar nominees are, or maybe the Oscar nominations aren't out yet, but surely they must be, because the Oscars are February, March time. They may not even happen because most of LA is on fire at the minute. Kieran Culkin, I can't state enough just how incredible his performance is. And not only that, but I'm absolutely going to take a moment to just say that I have been on the Kieran Culkin is brilliant vibe train since 1998, since a film called The Mighty, which I went to see at the Tyneside Cinema with my friends. I used to get the little brochure, for those who don't know, and why would you? The Tyneside Cinema is a beautiful little independent Art Deco cinema in Newcastle where I grew up, and I would get the monthly programme of all the stuff they were showing. They only had 2 screens, so what they showed was limited, and I read about The Mighty and I thought, that sounds brilliant, I want to see it, and I did. And it is one of the most disgusting states I've ever cried myself into watching a film. Like, I was basically covered in snot when I came out. It was not pretty, and I loved it so much. And that was 1998. In 2002, I was on holiday in Montreal and I attended a screening of a film called Igby Goes Down at the Montreal Film Festival, and 2 of the cast, Kieran Culkin and Amanda Peet, came out on the stage to introduce the film. So I've always known that he is a stupidly talented human, but it seemed to take the rest of the world a bit longer to catch on, and that's mainly when he was cast as Roman Roy in Succession, in which he is, he's the best thing in a show that is wall-to-wall incredible things. And it's the same here. Benji is, you could say, a loose cannon, a social hand grenade. He's unpredictable. The genius of Kieran's performance is that he doesn't play him crazy. How he plays Benji is so authentic. Like, he's read the script and gone, I get this guy. And his energy, one of the reviews or the quote at the point of the post is like, Kieran Culkin is a force of nature. He is an agent of chaos. They're on this tour of basically what Jesse Eisenberg called like trauma tourism, where you visit really sad places. They're going around Poland, and part of that tour is to a concentration camp. But Benji is just this ball of energy. He says exactly what he thinks. Sometimes he's really offensive, but like, he never really means to be. It is such an incredible performance. And Jesse Eisenberg's performance is amazing as well, as like buttoned up David trying to control his cousin, trying to keep them both out of trouble. And it's like a buddy movie. Fisher, like almost like opposites, like a buddy movie where they're both so different, and but then by the end they understand it. But it's so much more than that, because they have family history, because they have these links to Poland, that this is their real heritage. But they are both, not spoiled American kids, but they're men who have very, very different lives to the lives that their ancestors would have had. It is incredibly shot. It is so beautiful. It's shot on location in Poland. It used a Polish film crew, so it has real authenticity. It's very sensitive when it comes to dealing with that, as particularly when they visit the concentration camp. Like, there's no humour to be mined there, and nor should there be. I laughed a lot during this film, but it's also incredibly moving. The small ensemble cast are brilliant. There's a British tour guide. Jennifer Grey of Dirty Dancing fame is also on the tour. There's an older sort of American Jewish couple, and then a Rwandan guy. And I don't want to spoil his backstory because it's incredible. This is such a good film, and it's 88 minutes long, and it's powerful, and it's funny, and it's special. And I love cinema for making me think and moving me to tears and making me laugh and giving me an insight, and just, yeah, man alive, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Watch it. A real pain. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Bravo, Jesse Eisenberg, and well done, Kieran Culkin. You are an excellent, excellent actor. I hope you get all the plaudits, and I look forward to seeing what Jesse Eisenberg does, both in front and behind the camera in years to come, because he's a stupidly talented guy. They both are. So that's it. Massive loving for A Real Pain. Loved it. Thanks for watching. Katie out.